Hey everybody, this is Tony, and I'm here today with a special guest, Mr. Papa Joe Aviance. How you doing today?
Good. How you doing, Tony? Thanks for having me on.
No problem at all. I'm doing just fine. Now, of course, Papa Joe, you are pretty much a Renaissance man. You pretty much do everything from being an artist to an author to a life coach. What is it that you don't do? Let me ask you that.
I guess I'm still trying to find my purpose. So I do multiple things.
Look, there's nothing wrong with that.
Hey,
Now,
gotta stay busy, you know?
right. Now, of course, Papa Joe, you've had much success in all of those fields that I just mentioned, though. But one of the areas that you said you didn't have success in was with your personal life, and most specifically with your weight.
Yeah.
And you've took that on and lost over 200 pounds, is it?
250 pounds, to be exact.
250 pounds, okay. So, and now you also have a book out as well talking about this, Balancing the Scales. So talk to me about this process for you and this journey for you, losing the weight. What made you ultimately, decide to change?
Sure. Back in 2009, I was working on Wall Street, and basically moved out to LA with 2 suitcases and a dream, and got into music. I was working in a video store. A producer walked in, said, "I liked your voice," and said he wanted to record it. So I went and recorded it and got signed to a label in 10 minutes. And
oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and then the label contacted me and said, "We want you to do this song. Would you mind doing this rap on this song?" So I did a rap on a song, and then 2 weeks later they said, we shot a video for it, and then they said, "Oh, it's going to be on Billboard." I'm like, "What?" It's submitted to Billboard. I'm like, "What?" So my very first single ever wound up debuting at 24, and wound up going up to number 6 on the dance Billboard music charts, and I became a dance Billboard music artist.
All right.
My very first single ever. So, but when I saw myself in the video, I was 450 pounds. And I basically have been heavy all my life, been uncomfortable, unhappy, and unhealthy for a long time. So when I had an opportunity to do music, I was like, the spark just went, oh, it's like the pearly gates opened up, just like, clouds opened up and light came shining down. And so what happened was I just said, you got to change. And what really happened, to be honest with you, the label contacted me back then and said, "We want you to be the next Biggie Smalls for house music.
Okay.
We want you to be like the next Notorious B.I.G. for house music. Here's a contract." And when that was put in front of my face in order to sign a 5-year deal to be this next Notorious B.I.G. of house music / that's how they want to pigeonhole me because of my size. I said, they're doing this because of my size, not because of my voice, my talent. They're just trying to capitalize on something for my size. And that's not where I was at the time, because I was passionate about doing music. I love music. And finally, for having something that had come into my life and had skyrocketed, literally out the box, I didn't want to have to look like that or feel like that. So I said, okay, I pushed away the contract and said no. And I asked myself what was the easiest exercise I can do, and it was walking. So within 18 months, walking up to 5 miles a day, rain or shine, I was able to walk off 250 pounds. Now, in the interim, the very first time I walked around the block, I only walked around one time. I couldn't do it. Couldn't do more than that. Drenched in sweat. But what happened was, as the song was debuting on the track on the Billboard charts, I would walk to a further newsstand and buy the magazine and bring it back with me as a keepsake. And so by the time it went up to number 6, I was walking up to 5 miles. Okay. And then I just continued that routine. And then what happened was, I was unemployed, couldn't afford a gym, gastric bypass surgery, or anything like that. So then I found out, some of my friends said, "Go to the 99-cent store." I'm like, "What?" So I wound up coining the phrase, "You don't have to be wealthy to eat healthy." And I bought all my foods for $40 a week, on coining the phrase that, and also the 99-cent diet, and wound up being their brand ambassador. It was kind of like the Jarrett for Subway. So after the success of the song, I wound up being a brand ambassador for the 99-cent store. for the dollar store.
All right now.
Yeah. So they had me out there, shucking and jiving. But no, I mean, it was good. I mean, it was basically sharing my story, about how I lost all this weight by shopping for healthy foods at the 99-cent store. Again, proving that you don't have to be wealthy to eat healthy, because at the time, everybody's like, oh, it costs too much to eat healthy. No, it doesn't. For me, it was, I just found ways to work around it. And then, so from there, after becoming the brand ambassador for the 99-cent store, the American Heart Association picked up on my story, and I wound up becoming a brand ambassador for them. So I've been a brand ambassador for the American Heart Association now for the last 6 years.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's major.
Thank you. So between all of that, finally I was able to sit down and did the tour with the song, and finally had my moment of self-discovery within the 18 months. So then I said, I want to write a book. So I said, okay, let's write a book. So I wrote a book, and within the first 4 hours of it coming out on Amazon, it's called Balancing the Scales.
Right.
It became an Amazon bestseller in 4 hours.
Wow.
So yeah,
you know what? It just shows you sometimes that, excuse me, how things are really meant for you. And when they are, they just pretty much fall in line. And I think that was something, that showed that kind of situation.
Progression, yeah. I think, everything I've done has literally been a ripple effect to the next thing, to where it became the life coaching. That's kind of where I said I wanted to make sure that I wanted to leave some breadcrumbs behind for anybody else, to make sure they don't fall in the same pitfalls that I fell through.
Right.
So that was the reason for the book. And the model for the book really is about, it's stories coupled with a couple of messages in there. And it's about, it's not about the weight that you lose, it's about the life that you gain. And that's something that, through that transformation, that's something that happened for me. That was something that I was able to find out about, and help.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, what I want to know from you, though, before we get further into the book, is on your journey of losing the weight, what kept you steadfast in doing it? Because sometimes that a lot of us will say we want to lose weight, we'll try something, we might try a diet, we might try exercising, and then we say we quit. So what kept you determined throughout that whole time to even get to losing that over 250 pounds?
You know what? I focused on the little things versus the bigger things of the victories. I focused on whether I could put another belt loop in my belt buckle. You know what I mean? That's how I celebrated. You know what I mean? When I went down another notch, I'm like, hey! You know what I mean? And that kept me motivated. Little things like that just kept me motivated. I mean, there were days where I'd be like, I ain't doing it. Or I want to slip. But I remember why I was, number one, why I was doing what I was doing. And then two, those little things, again, putting another belt, going to another loop in my belt, a smaller loop in the belt.
Right.
That was like a victory for me. When I first started out, I mean, I went from a size 58 jeans to 36.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So every time I was able to go down a notch, I mean, it was like I won the lottery. That's how I felt. So that kept me going on a daily basis. And then, whether the clothes fit, the way the clothes were fitting, and I was able to start buying things that I wasn't able to buy before, or, and just feel comfortable. I mean, when I went from not only a 58, 56 jeans, also I went from a size 6X shirt to large.
Wow.
So the fact that I was able, once I got down to an extra large, and to be able to go into a store and be able to find something on a rack that I could buy, without having to worry about going trying to or see if I look and be self-confident about myself and have all low self-esteem, get all depressed about being heavy, because that's how I used to be.
Right.
And then now I'll be like, I'll take that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So there's little things like that just really kept me going. Even, I mean, I'm not too big on compliments or anything from anybody else, because it's more about the personal victories for myself. So if somebody does compliment me, thank you. But I mean, until you feel good about yourself and what you're doing, it's hard for. I mean, it's hard for me to accept compliments because I'm like, if I'm not where I want to be at that moment in time and place, it's really hard for me to accept the accomplishment. But I can acknowledge the achievement, But
right.
But it's just hard for me to kind of like, I don't want to be, but thank you. Appreciate the sentiment, you know what I mean? And I appreciate the sentiment for recognizing. But, and then I keep going, and then that will keep me motivated. And, one of the things, and for myself, one of the things that I had to do was learn how to figure out my eating habit. That was one of the biggest challenges as far as weight loss was concerned, was just figuring out my eating habits because I had poor eating habits. But I feel good now, though. I feel better.
I bet you do.
I feel better. I feel much better. I mean, it's a whole new person. I'm a whole new person. I literally have transformed from one side of the spectrum to the other.
Right. And people don't understand that sometimes when you, or not sometimes, a lot of times when you lose weight or even, change something about yourself, you a lot of times gain confidence or, like you said, with having gaining an extra belt loop or something like that, that was giving you, the motivation. I can just imagine what losing over 250 pounds feels like.
I'm gonna be honest with you. It feels good. It's good now, but there is a level of where I actually plateaued and I got depressed because I did not know the new body that I was in. I've been heavy for so long, so when people stared at me or looked at me, they already had a judging face on their face because I was heavy. Like when I used to, because I was one of those people that used to have to buy 2 seats on the plane. That's how big I was. Okay, I was one of those people. Like when I walked into an all-you-can-eat buffet, they were like, "Oh Jesus, oh Jesus."
Exactly. Exactly.
Cook. You know what I mean? Make another plate. Keep it going. So but people, and I used to know that, you know what I mean? Because I used to know, like when I go into an airplane, people used to look at me like, please don't sit next to me. Please don't sit next to me. Oh, you know what I mean? Please. And I can feel the vibes and all that stuff like that because I was real sensitive at the time of being heavy. And now when I'm a lot thinner, it's a different kind of look. So, and I wasn't used to that. So there was a period where I kind of went through a little small depression because it gave me more confidence and stuff like that and more energy and to keep moving forward. And I don't have any health problems right now, knock on wood. But, other than that, there is unfortunately there's, the fat shaming and stuff like that, I've had to experience with other people, and even being thin, I feel like I'm a spy, you know what I mean? I feel like I'm a mole, you know what I mean? I really do.
That's right.
I've been in situations where other people have fat shamed other people, and I have to show them my before and after and be like, watch yourself.
I'm trying to tell you, come on now.
You know what I mean? I'll show them my before and after and go, watch yourself. And I just to stick up for that person because I can, like I said, there's a difference, and I do know that. But again, they don't know where I came from. But I remind them, be like, before you start judging somebody else, You caught that, right?
I caught it. You know what? Oh goodness. No, but that's. I mean, honestly though, that's really empowering.
But I mean, I'm happier though. I really am happier, and that's the point. I want to help other people. Just you ain't got to look like The Rock. You ain't got to look like Beyonce.
Right.
But just be healthy. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm
glad that you said something earlier, and you said, that you had, a little space of, depression with your new self.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people, I'm glad that you mentioned that, because people think that sometimes when you lose weight that you automatically just feel great or you want to do backflips. But, it does take getting used to. When I think about something like that, I think about Jennifer Holley when she talks about her weight loss situation. And being skinny, how people didn't really receive her the same as they did as her being big.
Yep.
So I'm glad that you mentioned that, so people can really truly hear from somebody who has been through it that it's not immediate confidence or happiness, but sometimes you have to really get into a groove.
You do.
So,
But once
yeah,
you find it, don't stop.
exactly.
Let me put it this way: I have more confidence walking into a store and buying stuff off the rack now than I ever did in my entire life.
I'm sure.
You know what I'm saying? And even just in little things, like there are certain times, like I used to, like, okay, being heavy, I used to cover up a lot. So I'd always wear like an extra baggy shirt on top of the baggy shirt. Yeah. You know what I mean? To try to slim myself down a little bit. And now I can put on a large and walk out the door and feel confident and feel comfortable in the new skin. But again, there was a time period where I'm like, ooh, because I didn't know how to receive myself, because I had noticed those changes again. And just like Jennifer Holiday said, people don't know how they're going to be received. And I wasn't receiving myself because I was so used to being judged as a heavy person that when people weren't judging me, I was like, well what's going on? I'm like, oh, you actually want to hear what I have to say? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it makes you feel weird because you almost expecting the judgment, basically.
Oh, yeah. And one of the things and I've been quiet for a long time, and now I talk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's something that, and again, it's because of the fact I was being bullied when I was heavy and judged, and just had low self-esteem, low self-confidence about myself, and I just, again, unhappy, unhealthy, and uncomfortable. And but once I found this new skin that I'm in, I'm like, okay, let's see what this is all about. And again, I feel reborn because I've done the work. Now I can enjoy the fruits of the labor.
Exactly. So, in doing the book, Balancing the Scales, was that more of like a therapeutic process for you too as well?
Oh yeah. I'm in the process of writing book number 2. Yeah, but it was definitely therapeutic because it just reminded me, and I just, every chapter has a story to the journey. Every chapter leads up to where I started and where I finished. But and then hopefully where I'm going. but they lead up to that. But every chapter is just kind of a reminder of where I was. So it was very therapeutic to release that and realize that I overcame that, and that I didn't let it beat me. And look, everybody has something that they're battling. Everybody.
Exactly.
Everybody has something that you're battling. I just broke my cycle as far as my weight was concerned. Weight is my issue. I can eat 2 cheeseburgers and gain 10 pounds. I'm just, that's just the way my body operates. Whatever I put in, I'll see it 2 days later. Oh, there. I'm like, oh, that was some chips. You know what I mean? When the jeans start getting a little tighter, you
already know.
Yeah, so I know that weight is my issue, and hopefully, if it's and one of the things in the book, and I'll share a tip that I came up with. One of the things was getting to the root of the problem, and I had to figure out why I was eating as much as I was eating. I used to eat 7,000 calories a day, and I literally went cold turkey down to 2,000. So to figure out my triggers, and what I did was I came up with the 3 W's, and that's what, when, why. So when I'm in a grocery store, and I wanted something that wasn't primarily good for me, I'd ask myself those 3 W's. What? Bag of Doritos. What is it? Okay, it's a bag of Doritos. So what, when, why? What, when, why? What is it? You're like a crazy person talking to yourself in the grocery store. Like, oh, bag of Doritos. Okay, when do you want it? I want it now. And then you got to ask yourself the last one, why? And once I figured out that why, I'm like, oh, I'm mad because that lady cut me off in traffic and this and the other. I'm like, oh, you're an emotional eater. And that's what I started to figure out. I was an emotional eater. So once I started breaking those and then reminding myself of what I was going after, I put the chips down and went and grabbed some food or something else, and something healthier, because I just started to remind myself, to break the cycle. And so, one of the tips that I give people, is just to get to the root of the problem, and you can start to make the necessary changes that you need to make.
Absolutely. Now, of course, you like you just said, you changed your eating habits. So, for example, like what is something that you would eat now versus something bad that you would have ate before?
Oh, I eat everything now. I just eat it in moderation. But I mean, my late night binges used to consist of 2 Big Mac meals, large size, a family size bag of Doritos, a whole chocolate cake, German cake, or cheesecake. And this is in addition to the 3 meals that I've already eaten throughout the day. Also, and then I would wash it down with 2 Diet Cokes, trying to be cute, thinking I was trying to be cute by cutting on the calories because, oh, Coke Zero, woo, yeah.
Exactly.
While I'm stuffed down on all them calories, in addition to the three meals a day. And so, yeah, so it was bad. It was really bad. But yeah, I used to 7,000 calories a day, down to 2,000, and I said, okay, we done, we good. But now I just, rather than having the whole cake, I have a slice, and I'm satisfied with a slice. I also used to drink 2-liter bottle of Mountain Dew every day for 5 years. I haven't touched soda in 6 years. I used to drink a 2-liter bottle of Mountain Dew every single day. That is 50 tablespoons of sugar every single day that I was drinking.
Yeah, it's too much.
Yep. So, and again, like I always joke and say I was 2 cheeseburgers away from a heart attack. But once I was able to change those habits and refocus and you know, kind of go through this process, the process of self-discovery, I'm like, oh, okay. So now it's not they're no longer like wishes, they're habits now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And I also wanted to know though, you know, as far as the weight. So were you always a heavy person, or did that something that just came on?
By the time I was in kindergarten, I was shopping at J.C. Penney's in the husky size section.
Okay.
They didn't have 2X, 3X, and 4. They didn't have big and tall. It was small through extra large, and then husky. That's where I go. I used to literally, when I was 5 years old, I was shopping at Husky. I've been heavy all of my life. I know nothing, like literally 30-something years of my life has been nothing but as a heavy-set man. And I was willing to accept that. I was willing to die by that and no more. So I'm living in this new body now that's thinner and healthier, hopefully wiser. And
yeah, absolutely.
You know, and then be able to move forward with the rest of my life. But I'm right now, like, okay, like I said, the book is about, it's not about the weight that you lose, it's about the life that you gain. And the example that I given this is that one of the things on my bucket list was I wanted to skydive. But I couldn't do it, obviously. Number one, I'm scared of heights. And then 2, I couldn't I couldn't because of the weight restrictions. I was too heavy. So for the very first time, I was able to go skydiving because I was able to get under the 220-pound weight restriction, and I was able to go skydiving. And right now, I'm on my 5th jump, and I'm in the process of signing up to get my skydiving license so that I can teach other people how to overcome their fears and jump too as well.
All right. Well, congratulations on that milestone.
Thank you. But like one of the things that I say, one of the things that I've learned is that one of the biggest things that I thought was unreachable or impossible turned out to be possible. And now I love skydiving. I mean, I feel, you know, I love it. I absolutely love it. You know, call me crazy, whatever, but there's just something freeing for me that I do. Like, I'm like, oh, I enjoy this a lot. But again, it used to be the most fearful thing, but now it turns out to be the best thing in my life that I love.
Wow, see? And that's what I don't think people really understand sometimes. And that's why I'm glad we're having this conversation and, you know, you're sharing your story because sometimes we put the limits on ourselves a lot of times with things. And, you know, you really don't know what you can do until you just set yourself free and just go.
That's it.
So I'm definitely glad for that.
I was able to do that. And then, you know, one of the things that I did mention was like through my transformation, there's something else that I'm working on that I'm doing too as well. It's through my transformation. I called myself the Electric Negro.
Okay.
So, but also that's a new animated series and live action series that I'm in the process of developing right now too as well.
Yes, I wanted to talk about that as well.
Yeah,
so
but part of that journey of being the Electric Negro on the health and wellness side, it's funny because now all the skydivers, the tandem pilots that on my 5th jump when I went out there, they all bought Electric Negro shirts. I have like 10 white guys that bought a bunch of Electric Negro shirts. They're like, we love you, Electric Negro. But it's been part of my.
You know what?
Because what?
They bought into it, huh?
They bought into it because it's part. Again, it's the whole character that I came up with. The Electric Negro was finding your inner superhero, and that was the other thing. You asked me about what kept me motivated. When I would wear that shirt through my walks and stuff, and people would just smile, and it just it was shocking enough to go, what does that say? And then once they read it, they're like, oh, that's funny, and they laugh. And that's really how the whole idea of me even starting my next thing after writing the book. I mean, literally went from that to life coaching and then turning into developing a TV show. I mean, it went from that. A white guy walked up to me and goes, that would make a great comic book. I'm like, really? And he was like, okay. And then for the last 5 years, I've been cultivating this idea, and now it's finally coming to fruition. I basically went from author, recording artist, to now producing this show called Electric Negro. So stemming from my transformation, one of the things you were talking about, setting yourself and not knowing your limitations and setting limits on yourself and being free, one thing kind of led into the other. Again, somebody says, oh, they'll make it this, that. And so now through the eyes of the lens of a Black person, I'm showing what it's going to be like to be Black in America through this comic book and animated series. So now it's gone from health and wellness, from finding your inner superhero to developing a TV show.
Okay. Look, that's why I say, what don't you do?
Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm crisscrossing between the spectrum from going heavy to, well, that's the other thing too in the book that I talk about. One of the first line, actually the fifth line in the book is, there are two things that I think you should focus on in life. One is your health and wellness, and two is your goals and dreams, because both of those need motivations. Both of those need motivation, and you can't do one without the other.
That's right.
You can't do what you want to do if you're unhealthy. Look at Adele. Look at Rebel Wilson. You know what I mean? Look at all these women, Jennifer Holliday. Look at all these women that were heavy, but they wanted to be healthy. And then, you know what I'm saying? And now they did what they had to do.
That's right.
So they can continue to keep singing, So that's why I say focus on your goals and dreams, focus on your health, and that's it. And I'm here if you need me for motivation, baby. and speaking of that, we gotta make ourselves accountable.
Yeah. And you've also, I know went on different shows like Rachel Ray and The Doctors, amongst others, sharing your story. So have you found that gratifying to just, because I'm sure people have came to you and said that you helped them in some way. I'm positive. So has that been a force of motivation for you as well?
You get the tea. I just signed a new talent agreement as of last week to develop my own unscripted reality show.
All right. Well, look, I'm glad that you gave it here first.
Yep. So, you get the facility there first. You get it first. So, yeah. But last week I signed a new talent agreement to start pitching in addition to Electric Negro, I'm pitching my own unscripted reality show. So that's given me the motivation, being the fact that I'm able to help more people on a bigger platform. So I actually have another show in development with me hosting. So it's been a blessing to be able to piggyback off of the other shows that I've done and sharing my story, and then just kind of cultivating it and wrapping it around, helping other people, and being the best that they can be. So, got a new show in the works, another one in the works.
Look, when do you ever go to sleep at this point?
Woo, I'm still trying to work on my sleep schedule.
When do you go to sleep? Because, I mean, you really are doing everything. I mean, it is a blessing, though. Don't get me wrong now. I'm just kidding. But it is a blessing, to be able to have something of your own come, and all these different things come out of that, and to be able to inspire people, so that's always a great thing. But no, really, when do you sleep?
It's hard at night sometimes, but I try to get a couple hours in every night.
Yeah, because you don't sound like you sleep at all.
Yeah, my mind races a lot, but I try. Yeah, again, yeah, but with these new things that are on the horizon, I really want to give it my all. So
Absolutely.
I say, I got plenty. I got time to rest. So I want to keep pushing and give 110% of myself, and that way I'm able to give 110% of not only for myself, but give 110% for others and helping others and pay it forward. Like I said earlier, I've done the work. Now I just want to help.
That's right.
I figured out the secret for what it works for me, and hopefully I can provide those tools and help other people with that as well, and come up with a plan for people and make people accountable to be the best that they can be.
Absolutely.
Seriously.
Well, Papa Joe, I really enjoyed your story.
Thank you.
And I'm so thankful for you even sharing your story today.
Thank you.
But before you go, though, just
and
let
I mean that
everybody
sincerely,
know.
by the way. I mean that sincerely, by the way.
Look. Right.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I mean that sincerely. I didn't mean like, she probably think I'm faking it. And I'm like, thank you.
No, you're right.
No, seriously, thank you. No, seriously, because anytime I get an opportunity to share my story, it makes it all. It makes me happy, and hopefully I'll be able to reach one of your listeners out there and be like, yeah, let me check this mother. Let me check him out. Let me check this brother out. And then hopefully be able to make a lifestyle change for themselves too as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And also just let everybody know where they can purchase the book, and then your social media handles as well.
Sure. The book Balancing the Scales is available on Amazon.com under Papa Joe Aviance. Also, you can find me on Instagram at Papa Joe Aviance or at The Electric Negro. And then on Facebook, it's on Facebook, it's Facebook.com/Electric Negro. And then also on Facebook, you can find me at The Papa Joe Aviance on Facebook as well. And that's my personal page, not a fan page.
Okay. Sounds good.
For Facebook, I keep it personal. I talk crap on that one.
Look, sometimes you have to.
You know what I'm saying? But everything else is there for people to check it out. And please come find me and let's link up and connect. And if there's anything that I can do to help anybody else out there, hit me up. Let me know. I'm here. I want people to be kind, be safe, happy, and electric.
Absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is none other than Mr. Papa Joe Aviance. And thank you so much again, okay?
Thank you, Cody.
No problem.